City Skylines 2 is going to be released on October 24th of this year. And with that announcement, we also got our first trailer with actual in-game footage. So I thought it might be fun to take a look at the trailer with you and see if we can uncover new things about the game. So let's dive right in. First of all footage captured in-game. Thank you. Thank you. Look at how smooth these ramps connect into the road. The line work is absolutely amazing. There is some abnormalities right here. It looks like there's a weird crosswalk right there. And I'm also noticing this is a speed limit right on the road. So that makes me wonder, can we change the speeds? That would be pretty amazing. This looks like tram tracks maybe. I see these lines going over the road and then it appears that these are tracks. So maybe that means that trams are going to be confirmed. These trees look like it's either fall or they're dead. So that makes me wonder, are we seeing life cycles of trees? Are we seeing that this doesn't look like fall. The leaves aren't changing colors. So to me, this seems like the trees are actually dying, which would be a really amazing game mechanic. Seems like these dead trees are different sizes too. So maybe some of these trees are dying older, some are dying younger. 55 right here too. That is a speed limit. 35 on the arterial, 55 on the ramp, and I'm guessing it's 70 or 75 on the highways. That is awesome. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. This is redevelopment. We see some mid-rise buildings. We see some lower rise, higher density apartments. And then in between there, we have some single family homes. Some of the older homes, like redevelopment has occurred in this area. I really hope that's the case because that would be an amazing game mechanic. Also seeing that we've got a couple of billboards that look like they're all about the same right now, but there are far fewer of them and they seem to be much more realistic. This placement makes a lot more sense. Also, there seems to be a lot of variety with the building styles and some buildings that just appear to be a little bit more realistic. This to me looks like a gas station, very small one, and there is no convenience store associated with it, but it's neat to see that included in the game. And one more thing, look at how far back this is rendering. It looks amazing. It looks like this is two communities, maybe a suburb here and the downtown for the principal municipality back here. And the buildings look crisp and sharp, no load popping. And look at all the trees in the background. Holy cow, that's amazing. And the water looks great too. Ooh, there's a lot to take in here. First of all, we have a roundabout and it looks really, really good. And this line work appears to be the default game mechanic. Looks pretty good. We got a train track here and it's splitting off and that looks realistic. This would be impossible in City Skylines 1. Also, this bridge back here is gorgeous. Looks like a truss bridge. Really, really like that. And then we've got some more mid-rise here. 3-story buildings. Also, different sized trees. I'm thinking we must have a growth mechanic with the trees and more dead trees. So I'm not sure what the deal with that is. Ooh, that's a tram. Trams confirmed coming straight through the center of this roundabout. And another beautiful roundabout. So we have Ware that's obviously appearing on the road. Look at the vehicles. So we've got a couple of smart cars, which is fine. Some motorcycles down here, it looks like. Then we've got a nice variety of realistic looking trucks. Also, we've got parking lots back here that look pretty reasonable, pretty realistic. I'm wondering how much detail work you have to do to create these, or if the game's just automatically generating that. This looks like it's some sort of, maybe it's an apartment complex or maybe a hotel. And then more mid-rise as we transition into the downtown. And these buildings look outstanding and tons of landscaping. There's a lot of detail in this image. And nights are obviously confirmed. We have a day-night cycle and it looks beautiful. And this looks like the same city that we've been looking at potentially. You know what? I think we were actually over here before because we have this terminal looking building. I don't know if this is part of an airport or what, or if it's just a unique building, but you can kind of tell where we were before and where we are now. Wow, this is massive. Here we're finally seeing the in-game menus. This is a really attractive menu. The terrain looks outstanding. The trees appear to be different sizes. The theme is beautiful. There appears to be multiple different zoning districts. We've got a residential, commercial, industrial. I don't know what that is. I'm wondering if that's either office or mixed use. Also, I see that it's spring, so that is pretty neat. Seasons are absolutely confirmed. We knew that before, but great to see. I'm wondering if this right here is the district tool. I really hope that it is, because if this is the district tool, it means that it's going to be a lot easier to create districts because it looks like it's following some sort of a grid. Guessing this is unique buildings. We got roads, power, water, some of our emergency services, a recycling icon. So that must be our waste management, education, fire, police. Then we have mass transit, parks, information, and our landscaping menu. I'm really curious about what this is. Do we have a nice transit overview at this point where we can take a look at everything? And then right here, we do have Chirper. Chirper, it looks to be a little bit less prominent. And for our landscaping tools, these look very interesting. I like that we have more fine-grained controls. I think it's going to be a lot easier in the vanilla game to actually control the landscaping if we have this level of control. Ooh, this is big. This is almost like SimCity 4, how we were able to create gigantic neighborhoods by gridding things out like this. So that is an interesting feature. This button is pressed, so that's an option. Looks like you don't have to do this. You still got your curved road tool, straight road tool, your curved road tool. And now there's two of these. I don't really know what that means. I'm curious because it looks like we've got two freeform tools, or maybe a freeform tool and a less freeform tool. I'm also seeing that you can modify the elevation. Looks like there's 5 steps while you're placing the roads. So I don't know if that is some of the fine road anarchy making its way into the game. And look at all the snapping options. Holy cow. You can snap to so many different things that it looks like we have precision engineering built right in, which is pretty outstanding. And then looking at this, we've got a lot of roadway options and they look very nice. It looks like we just have a normal local road. This looks like it's maybe a road with a twiddle, or maybe it's an asymmetric. One way, one lane. So those could be alleyways perhaps. One way, 2 lane, one way, 3 lane dirt road. This actually looks like an alleyway. This to me looks a bit like maybe a pedestrian road. Then we've got these bridges that used to be attached to the dirt roads, and it looks like this is an option now. And then a nice truss bridge. So I'm really excited about that. Looks like maybe this is a junction setting. Highways right here. Roundabout, parking. Wow, there's a lot to take in right in this little screen. Do you see this? And the road is coming straight through here. This is that third option. So that makes me wonder if maybe this is some sort of option where you can freeform right through roads. So as this was placed and released, this junction was made. So wow, that is a really outstanding feature. It's going to make planning a roadway network much, much, much easier. There's no zoning facing this road, which is great to see. So that zoning toggle appears to be in here. And obviously the game is grid-based. Again, we've got grids all over the place. We've got some development along the water. Looks very nice and orderly. Maybe those are some warehouses, some power plants. Then we've got this highway coming into the city. Look at that. That is a super complicated junction. I'm wondering if the game is doing this on its own or if this is something that we have the opportunity to do ourselves. And then we get to see a nice variety of buildings. It looks like they spawn a lot like City Skylines 1, but it looks like there was a bit more care and attention given to the yards. Everything looks really crisp. I don't see a lot of blobs. And then again, more parking and that transition of densities. I'm loving to see the transition of densities throughout here. Looks absolutely fantastic. There's a lot to take in on this little screen. You can see that we've got some of our zoning options. So it is residential, but holy cow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different residential densities. This is taking the transect to the next level, and I love to see that. This is what you actually see in form-based zoning codes. So I'm really excited to see that sort of attention to detail in terms of density. And that second option almost looks like a Main Street sort of building. So I'm wondering if that is mixed use. And here we do have commercial. This appears to be industrial and office. I don't know what that is. Is that oil? Maybe that's an oil pump. The other thing I'm noticing is we have 2 different themes, European and American. So that is interesting. That tells me that maybe we can make some more realistic looking European cities, which is pretty exciting. And then we've got this whole legend up here, residential suitability, very interesting. And then ground pollution. So we're going to be able to have more information about what makes a place suitable for certain types of development in our city, which is an absolutely amazing planning tool. And I'm not sure what these residential signature buildings are, but I'm here for it. These are offices and office signature buildings. So that is what the purple is. It is office. And I'm not sure what this little sign is, but apparently all the buildings are upset about something. The other thing I'm noticing is we have 2 different ways to place our zoning. We have the paint bucket. We can drop it in with a square like we could before. And then we have the blobby tool as well. Interestingly, the network is changing colors based upon how suitable the road is for certain types of development. So here, this is not a good road for office. Not sure why. Very curious about that. So now we're seeing a highway get built. And look at this. We have all of this information about the incline and the decline here, the distances, the angle that we're coming in at, this is a lot of information that used to be relegated to mods, so it's great to see that. And look at this. I'm not sure what step we have here to set the elevation, but it appears we have a lot of control. And maybe we have the ability to drop it up and down by meters individually. So that is great. And then we see some sound walls here. So I'm not sure if these are being placed manually. It appears that this might be separate from the road, which I would love to see, considering it doesn't appear to be mirrored on both sides. And then looking here, look, we've got all of these different options for our highways. So it appears that we have 2-lane, more rural sorts of highways available, highways with a twiddle. Not sure what this is. Maybe a highway with a shoulder. Then this is our ramps, our 2-lane highways, 3-lane, 4-lane, 5-lane, and then multiple different bridge options. I mean, this looks like the Golden Gate Bridge. So that makes me curious about that. Yeah, that is a very attractive bridge. And it looks like you got a lot of control over it because we can see that universities are built in. I am a little curious. This appears to be one gigantic university. And I'm not sure if this is a university that was plopped wholesale or if you're able to build this. This upgrades menu is kind of curious. So we can upgrade individual buildings, which kind of reminds me of SimCity 5. We'll have to see. And everyone was happy about something there. A police station was added. And we've got a whole bunch of different options here right off the bat. Looks like we got 4. And you can snap it to either the road or star. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe another building? Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Look at this. We have demand for different sorts of zoning. So it looks like the low density demand is through the roof. So this makes me wonder if this is going to be more like when realistic population is enabled, because holy cow, that is a lot of different options. And this appears to be some sort of tram yard. The level of detail, so much intricacy, and then it comes on the roads here. Trams are definitely happening day one. And I actually think that this is the other side. When we earlier on in the trailer, we had this view over here from this road. We were looking this way, and we saw the tram go through here. But yeah, wow, this highway looks outstanding the way it merges in. That is what we've been trying to do with Node Controller. So it's great to see that in the game. And look at this, we do have speed limits again, 70 on the highway of frontage road here at 35. And these networks are really close to one another. So I'm guessing that you have the ability to place these a little bit closer without all that snapping oddity that you see in City Skylines 1. And again, everyone's upset. I'm guessing that this is a land value complaint because we're seeing this all throughout the trailer. And here we're seeing our line, and look at that. So this must be a looping line, and we're able to actually see where we are on the line based on this little graphic over here. And I love it. It looks like we're getting individual numbers. Maybe this is, I'm not sure. Maybe this is individual numbers for buildings. That would be a great addition because it says it's going to 33 Victoria Street. So yeah, I wonder if it's going to the university. This vehicle looks outstanding. And look at our capacity in this vehicle, 240. All right, we can see the length, the stops, the utilization, ticket price. So we could assign a ticket price per line. I like that we can assign vehicles rather than adjusting the funding percentage. This to me makes a ton more sense. And I love that we have the ability to set schedules as well. I don't actually play with the day-night cycle, but I'm hoping that there's more value in the day-night cycle in this new game. Also seeing a drop down, so there must be multiple models of the vehicles. This is interesting to me. So we've got this building here. It appears to be a mid-rise and 25 people live here. That number seems off to me. So I'm thinking that it's still the agent-based sort of situation that we had in the first game, which could be disappointing to some people. I guess I'm a little more indifferent. There's always this extrapolation that I do in my head. Basically multiply your population by like 3 or 4, and that's what size your city actually is. But if you want the agent-based mechanic, that's kind of how you have to do it. There's also a lot of parking here, and I love the roads here. It looks like they're cobbles. I'm very curious as to what this is. I do not understand what I'm looking at, but it looks like something that is going to be fairly important. And then we have the same leveling mechanic, 5 levels here. Here we have a coal power plant, and it is absolutely massive. And I'm noticing it looks like there's a distribution line here and another one right here. Looks like there's a lot more to the power mechanic in this game than there was in the previous one. And look at the upkeep. Holy cow. The dollar amounts here are much more reasonable and realistic than the old game. We're looking at $300,000 cells, whatever it is, per month. And the power plant has employees, which is also great to see. I'm wondering, this power plant is running at above 100% efficiency with only a little under half the employees it needs. I'm wondering how that's possible. We can also see the negative externalities of the power plant, which I think is really great. I'm not seeing the ground getting gross. I love that. So you see trees, they are still existing around here like they would in the real world. That's awesome. And then we have a small industrial district over here. Again, the buildings are not on the diagonal roads, so it's hard to see how these interact here, but they do look pretty good right here, and we do see parking, and it appears that we can upgrade individual portions of this plant. That makes me wonder, is there a relationship between the coal power plant and these buildings over here, or is it just placed there because it makes sense? We'll have to wait to find out. Ooh, this is the air pollution menu. I'm not sure that pollution has ever looked so good because this menu is really outstanding. It looks like air pollution can drift with the wind perhaps. And I think it's confirmed we are having street numbers. So individual buildings will have more importance in my opinion or estimation. And then look at the complexity of these networks. This looks like that warehouse that we just got in City Skylines 1 where we've got the train going into the warehouse. And then we've got a really complex yard here. So I'm wondering if this is going to be a necessary game mechanic now that we build these yards to store trains, maintain trains, things of that nature. That is a huge consideration if you're planning anything related to rail. Turning radiuses, storage, maintenance, all huge considerations. So seeing this makes me think that it must be a consideration. And one thing I'm noticing now that I probably should have noticed earlier, 137. And I'm wondering if that's the number of tiles that have been unlocked in this city. I don't know if that's the overall number or just the number that have been unlocked now, but that is huge. So it looks like jail and prisons are both necessary. We have a number of crimes per month. Escaped crime rate. Ooh, this city is very dangerous apparently. And we can see that it looks like the police coverage is assigned to the network and the crime probability is attached to buildings. So that's going to be a lot to take in, I think the first time, but this seems like it would make a ton of sense. And here we are at the traffic menu, and I'm noticing a couple of interesting things right at the bat. So we have a time of day mechanic for traffic, and we get different traffic flow during those different times of day. I'm wondering if you could see the same thing with volume. I find it very interesting that we have flow and volume. So flow is the efficiency of traffic going through an area. Volume is going to be the amount of traffic. So you could have a lot of volume, a lot of traffic in an area, but it flow very nicely, or the exact opposite. So I'm glad to see that differentiated here. So obviously this is an arterial. You'd expect to see high volume there, and everything else has kind of moderate volume. Industries. I love this. So here's what we have: oil, ore, wood, and fertile land built in. So this to me means that industries is built right into the game. We have a little chicken here. It's adorable. Wheat, carrots. So I'm guessing this is some sort of farm field, maybe cotton, wood, ores, maybe another type of ore. I have no idea what that is. And then oil. So it looks like we're going to have lots of industry options. And right now, the natural resource that we're looking at appears to be wood for our lumber industry. And I see renewal rate in this menu, and that makes me wonder if trees are confirmed to grow. And this is an American street sign, so that is built into the base game. That is a level of attention to detail that we didn't really have in the previous game. I love that. And wow, look at this landscape. It's so lush, trees everywhere. And it looks like these roads are respecting the topography. Love it. Wow, look at the scale and size of this. Couple of things I see right away. We've got some soccer pitches here, football pitches, however you want to say it. We've also got parking right here, a larger stadium downtown, and this is just huge. Ferris wheel over here. So I'm not sure if that means that we get to make amusement parks day one, or if this is just an asset that's available to us. Then I'm not quite sure what this is. Probably a unique building. Not seeing a ton on the water. So I don't see beaches, which I'm hoping that we do see. So I see some keys right here. Over here, there aren't any keys, but it still looks very good. Then we have a boat going underneath here. And here again is that massive train yard. So this must be a requirement, unless someone just like to do this for aesthetics, but it feels like you don't show this in the trailer unless there's a purpose. Oh, seasons. And then you see that it changed over time. So that was awesome to see. And we're kind of in the middle of seasons. Okay, this must be a render. Yeah, this can't be in-game footage. This looks just like the first trailer. You know, I was pumped before, but I will admit it, I am absolutely ecstatic now. It looks like they've really listened to the community and have added a lot of things into the base game that you had to pay for before, but I haven't looked at pricing yet. So let's head over to the Steam workshop and see what's changed over there. So this bridge screenshot is outstanding. Look at that reflections off the tram. And then again, we have one of our menus here. This is the population distribution. So we have our birth rate, death rate, moved in and moving away. I like that we can actually see that now because it is a big component of city growth. It's not just people being born and dying. You also have people moving in and moving out, and being a driver of net migration to your city is huge. I mentioned this earlier. Clearly the population numbers do not line up with reality, because what we're seeing here is a city with a pretty significant skyline and a population of 90,000. That doesn't make any sense. But that's what you have with the agent-based mechanic. I guess you just have to extrapolate the population out yourself. Then this is the screenshot that everyone was talking about over the last number of days. I think everything that could be said about this has been said. Again, we have the speed limits. We've got trams. We've got beautiful looking buildings. We've got less of the billboards. Just generally, this looks like a very nice scene. I like that the lights look so varied, and it seems like we can even see inside of some of these buildings. I'm sure that you can't actually see inside of them, but the fact that the models are so varied gets me very, very excited. There's a ton of activity on the street as well. Lots of parked cars, lots of motorcycles, lots of detail. Every building appears to have had a lot of attention and care put into it. This is another one of the screenshots that leaked earlier, and yeah, this is a very complicated roadway network with frontage roads, really smooth angles. In here, you see some nice splits. We've got some tunneling happening here. Just generally, this looks like a very complicated roadway network, and it appears that the base game is handling it really, really well. And some of the junctions and splits here that we're seeing with the rail lines look outstanding. I also love that these sidewalks appear to be much more reasonable. They're not blobby. It looks like it's actually pavement, like little slabs of pavement. So I like that a lot. The one thing I am curious about looking at this is this junction here. Are we going to have a node controller built in? I'm not sure. This to me looks a lot like the mechanic you see in Cities Skylines 1. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up working out. And then here's that road tool again. Not a lot of new information here. Wow. This is a screenshot of a streetscape, and beautiful. The graphics are outstanding. That person looks real. And then just in general, there's a lot going on here. And this is a nice little attention to detail piece as well. We've got an island, and rather than this bumping up and people walking into a bunch of concrete here, there's actually the cutout there so that people could proceed through. And honestly, the fact that this screenshot exists makes me really excited about the in-game camera tools, which I always thought were kind of lacking in City Skylines 1. Then we get our overall city view. Looks very attractive. Tons of trees. Love to see that. And it just appears that the game is rendering a lot of information all at once. Really hoping that the specs aren't insane to be able to do this. And then finally, we're getting that view of the residential buildings. Again, the suitability. It seems like the menus are just really well thought out and attractive. So we've got our release date again, October 24th. And then we've got our price, $50, which honestly doesn't seem that bad for what you're getting, considering it seems like a lot of DLCs are worked into the game. But then there's this Ultimate Edition for $90, and I'm wondering what that gives you. So it looks like the Ultimate Edition comes with the first DLC, this instant unlock, not sure what that is, an asset pack, which is interesting to see asset packs, a couple of content creator packs, and a couple of radio stations. And no matter where you are, if you're in the US or you're in Europe, you're paying $90 for this. And it looks like day one, you'll be able to get the base game in the San Francisco set. So I'm wondering if that's buildings and bridges. We'll have to see. The beach pack comes out Q4, which technically the game releases Q4. So that might be just after release, along with the first radio station. And then it looks like quarterly things are going to be released. So it looks like we actually do have information about what's in those packs. The San Francisco set is some vehicles, the Golden Gate Bridge, and a map of San Francisco. The Beach Properties asset pack. It looks like these are luxury beach housing. So if you were making like Los Angeles, the content creator pack, this is interesting. It says that there are more than 30 assets each from two of the City Skylines community's favorite creators. I'm wondering if these creators are already picked or not. Very, very interesting to see that it's already the number of assets is defined. That makes me feel good about maybe the organization of the game. We're going to see a little bit more predictability when you purchase something. And then the first expansion is Bridges and Ports, and we are going to get the ability to create a bustling port in our city, new details, drawbridges, and lighthouses, and then 100 new assets. And I'm wondering what those could be. Marine industries, that's very, very interesting. And then 3 radio stations with an hour of music each. with a new vibe, but we don't know what those are. So I'm guessing it's going to be something that relates to each of these packs that are released. So something that harkens back to San Francisco, something beachy, and then something that is industrial. And then this is interesting because these were a couple of things that I noticed in the trailer. So this was not something to deal with an airport. It's actually a building from Tampere in Finland. And then we also have this Ferris wheel. These must all be from the Tampere, which is the home of Colossal Order where the game is developed. And that is a pre-ordered bonus. So if you want those 9 buildings, pre-order the game. And then we get to our system requirements. And this is interesting to me. These seem incredibly low, if I'm being completely honest with you. So minimum requirements are a Ryzen 5 1600X. That's pretty old at this point, and 8 gigs of RAM. I would love it if the game is optimized better for RAM. Recommended 16 gigs. So I guess I have super overkill in my machine. And then it's only the recommended setting is a fairly old RTX 2080 Ti. I mean, that's a good card. Don't get me wrong. That's a good card today. It's interesting to see that maxes everything out. So that leaves me some hope that more people are going to be able to play this game and it'll be more accessible. I'm very curious about the RAM amount there because, if you've played City Skylines 1, you know that it loves RAM. So I think it's fair to say that it appears that the game comes with everything in the trailer plus the pre-order stuff. So the other stuff that we're seeing in this Ultimate Edition isn't in the trailer. So for $50, that is a steal. If you think about all the DLCs that appear to be incorporated into the base game, we're going to get a very feature complete game. I'm really interested in seeing what they come up with DLCs in the future because the game already appears to be very good day one. So I am really excited, but I want to know how you feel about this. Are you as excited as I am? Did you see anything in the trailer that maybe I missed? Let me know down in the comments and we'll keep this hype train rolling until October 24th, hoping that we get to see more trailers like this one. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I really can't wait to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.